Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment.
Tough, and the hitters don't like it.
High fly, deep left. That could go. See ya. That one's drilled deep to center field. Going back, Chisholm, turning, looking. See ya.
Today is Friday, August 11th, and the Yankees were in South Beach to take on the Miami Marlins. Nestor Cortez is going to be out a while, so we'll get into that. Pete Simonetti is here with me. Our recap and your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
All right. So a rare offensive outburst for the artist formerly known as the New York Yankees. Oh, yeah. Joining me tonight is Pete from NYY News TV, Mr. Pete Simonetti.
Yeah.
I put that heat on him, and he didn't want to continue.
Yeah. Clap it up, everybody. Yeah. Yankees got a W.
How you doing, Pete?
I'm doing good, man. The Yankees got a victory. This cup of coffee hit me like crack or something because I'm all hyped up.
Nice.
I'm ready to go.
Is this the first time we've done a post game on a Friday where they've won? I think it is.
I feel like it is, yes. They haven't won many games. So, yeah, I think I think so. It probably is, yeah. It was a good one, though.
Usually I don't even do a recap when we're together, but I got to tonight because they won. So I'm just going to go through a little bit piece by piece and let Pete kind of chime in as we go along. Yankees win game one of the series. Can we start by saying Derek Jeter fixed the Marlins ballpark? Remember how hideous that ballpark, with that statue and the green walls? Now it actually looks like a baseball stadium.
Yeah, it looks nice. It looks like a very nice stadium. We got a friend there, Kevin from the Bronx or Nothing podcast. He was sending me some pictures over there, and it looks really nice. He put some pictures online. It looks like a nice stadium.
So let's begin with Anthony Volpe. He got things started off tonight with 2 runners on base.
There it goes. That ball is high. It is gone. Anthony Volpe, a spectacular.
Massive 3-run shot, 15th of the year. Pete, I'm sure that you heard this stat. You might not have heard it on the telecast tonight, but he is now the second best defensive player in baseball, according to the metrics. We haven't talked about Volpe in a while. Where are you at with him right now?
Oh, I'm okay with Volpe. I think those metrics are smoking crack, to be honest with you. But his glove is fine. His arm is absolute ass. I mean, we've seen his arm again today. It's terrible. It's not a shortstop left side of the infield arm, to be honest. But he feels the ball. He has good range. We know all that. But he's gonna be a good ball player. I don't know if he's gonna be this perennial all-star that people are hyping him up to be. But I still believe if you put Anthony Volpe at second base, I think you got a Gold Glover because he has great range and he has a below average arm, but that's all you need at second base. And I think he's a guy that may never hit to those 300 numbers, but the pop is obviously there. I mean, he got the power for it and he got the speed. So I think he's a very, very valuable player going forward.
Yeah, I think he's going to be great. I mean, just the combination of power and speed. The average is low right now, but I think it's going to come around. And tonight, he gets the belt.
Oh,
Aaron Judge also went deep tonight. Gargantuan home run.
That ball was smoked.
22nd of the year. Oh, got the 464 feet. And in a season that's going down the tubes fast, I start to look at milestones for numbers like statistical achievements, like, can so-and-so get to 30 home runs? Can so-and-so get to 100 RBIs? Judge is the only guy who's really got a chance at 30 on our team. You think he's going to get there? 8 more in 45-ish games, and he's probably going to sit out a few games too.
Yeah, I think so. I think Judge will get there. Yeah, I definitely think he gets there. And it sucks so bad, man, because even when he hit the home, everybody in the chat's like, he probably would have had 50. I was like, oh, yeah, definitely. If Judge didn't run into that wall, he might have had 60 easy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was making it look easy to get there.
Look at where Ohtani and what's his name, Matt Olson are right now.
Matt Olson.
They're at
Yep,
they're at
40.
they're at 40. Judge had like a 3 or 4 home run lead on them at that point, and he was hot. He had just homered, I believe, that game or the day before in Los Angeles. I think he'd be at about 48 right now, 47, 48.
So he would have definitely been in the mid to high 40s. I think there's no doubt about that. And like you said, well on his way to 60 plus. I remember before we talked in the year, you were like, I think he'll do it again.
Yeah,
and you
if he
said
didn't get hurt,
you were like, I think if he didn't get hurt, he would have no doubt about it been there.
Gleyber Torres, another good night with the bat, but another bonehead day on the bases. I mean, what are we going to do with this guy? He's one of the best hitters on the team, but he's obviously never watched the base running episode of the Tom and Mansky baseball series or whatever. I don't know what we're going to do with this guy. What are we going to do with this guy?
I'm just laughing because I remember those damn commercials. Remember those?
This is the instruction video that gets results.
Yes. I remember those damn commercials. But he's one of like the most polarizing Yankee figures right now because he has a fan base, and the fans are correct. There's a lot of good things that Gleyber Torres does well, but I cannot, in any sense of my mind, say I'm going to extend this guy long term. I just can't see it. Yeah. So again, the only thing I hope, keep playing well, build your value up. Maybe there's a nice trade for him in the offseason. Maybe the Yankees just wait and see what happens for another year. But at some point, right, the Yankees are getting older. They're going to start having to use some of these kids in the minors and open up spots for them.
I'm just puzzled with what happened with Peraza. Dude just has not had an extended chance. I mean, granted, he didn't hit much when he got his chance, but he's been so up and down this year. I don't think he's really gotten an opportunity. With the way the season has gone, I think if you're 5 games back of a wild card spot entering September, I think you have to just commit to playing as many kids as possible. Yeah. DJ, take the rest of the year off. You know, let's just get the kids and just see if they got some energy. Play Pereira. He's going to be up next week.
Yeah.
IKF had an RBI single tonight. Where do you stand right now on bringing back IKF? Right now, I think I'd bring him back.
I would bring him back depending on the value he's going to get. You know, what is he looking to get paid? What is that number? He's a perfect role player. I mean, he is. He just fits that role so well. I mean, you can kind of start piecing the Yankees bench together, right? Even for next year. Got Bowers, who I think you have to keep.
Yep.
IKF, of course. I think you could figure it out and start putting together something pretty good.
So you've got Rortvedt probably coming back instead of Higgy, I would imagine. You know, does good. He's a good catcher. He hasn't hit as much as I thought he was going to hit, but you know, maybe he'll come around. Trying to think who else we're gonna. I mean, I don't know if they're going to have Oswaldo Cabrera around next year. I mean, he's cheap and he's a switch hitter, but I mean, he's been ass. He's been ass all year. I feel like he might be somebody that gets included in some kind of a package.
That's what I think. I think he'll eventually be traded because even if you look at, there's so many prospects now, younger players that are even just going to overlap him very quickly. So he's just going to get kind of lost out there. At some point, you probably add him to a deal.
Yeah. There's somebody I wanted to bring up with you. So I'm going to go full screen. So this is, it may not translate to the major leagues, but there's a guy in the Korean Baseball League named Jung Hoo Lee. Did you? Okay, let's go ahead and talk about him. I didn't see it. Yep. So he is hitting .319. He's a .340 career hitter. 85 games this year, 386 plate appearances, just 23 strikeouts, 105 hits, only 6 home runs, but 23 doubles. You know I'm a doubles guy. And 2 triples, so he's obviously got some speed. 6 stolen bases. He's walked 49 times, so he walks more than he strikes out. Now, he's 24 years old. He hits left-handed, and he's coming over. Where do you stand on Hoo Lee?
Yeah, I like him. We have a writer on what our site. Our site is down now. Won't be back up for a little while. We're going to remodel everything, but I'm going to post that article again because now on X or whatever it's called, you could post long articles. So I'll post that on there again, but he's a guy, because people got to remember, too, the Korean League is like AA. It's basically translated AA. Guys don't throw overly hard. One of the scouts that have watched him that is included in that article said that he struggles with 93 miles an hour and up. But the only reason why people still feel it'll come around is because he doesn't strike out. So he has great hand-eye coordination. He doesn't K a lot. Great speed, very good defender. And there's just a little concern of, will he spend time in AAA first and then go to the majors? Or will the team just throw him right out there? I I think it's one of those guys where you got to take a serious gamble potentially and say, is this something that do we feel he's better than some of the prospects we have now at this point?
Yeah.
That's, I think, one of the questions you got to ask, because you're going to have to pay him a little bit. It ain't going to be a ton, but you're going to have to make a commitment of some sort.
I mean, if you can give Igawa $26 million and $26 million posting fee, so $50 million for a guy who barely played for the Yankees. And I don't think it hurt. I mean, look at the Yankees now. It obviously didn't hurt them. They're doing fine financially. I think you can afford to be wrong on this one. I think you can afford to spend $40 or $50 million to find out. You know, because he doesn't cost you anything in trade. Like it's just money, right? And it probably counts towards your salary cap or your luxury tax. Maybe you can work out some kind of a deal where if it's like if you don't make the major leagues, the money doesn't kick in. But once you make the major leagues, it kicks in as like a 4 or 5 year deal at $15 million or something like that.
Yeah, and I know his father was also like a legendary player in that league, so he comes from a lineage too of apparently pretty good ball players. So he kind of has that background, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't remember what his numbers were in the WBC. That'll be an interesting thing to look at and see what kind of matchups he had. But I agree with you. Look, the one thing the Yankees can do is gamble. I mean, they could easily gamble. It's not going to kill them. So gambling on a player like that is probably something you would seriously consider because, again, the free agency this year is not that cute. You know, there's not really great talent out there.
All right, we got to talk about Boone and Cashman in a minute, but I first got to pay the light bill here. NYY Recaps is sponsored by Game Time, the fastest-growing ticket app in the world. Download the Game Time app to your phone or other smart device, or visit gametime.co. Get the app. It's just way easier on the app. Everybody's got a phone. Get last-minute tickets to all your favorite types of events, baseball, other sports, concerts, theater, comedy, you name it. You could find it on Game Time. Use the code NYY Recaps for $20 off of your first purchase. Got rainout protection, job loss protection, all that shit. Use the code NYY Recaps. Game Time. Lowest price on last-minute tickets guaranteed. So today I listened to the Michael Kay show today after I got finished
God
working.
bless you.
I know. I actually don't tune into the Michael Kay show. There's a guy, Yankees Messiah, who always posts like the 20-minute like cliff notes of Michael Kay's discussion on the Yankees, and I think it's worth listening to. This was the first time that I can recall that he was saying Cashman's got to go. Like he was, I think for the last couple of weeks there's been talk about Boone. And I think he's the fall guy. But I think fans have been loud enough to the point where we're like, Boone ain't enough. Because Boone isn't filling the lineup with right-handed hitters, you know? Do you think there's honestly an actual way forward with the Yankees separating from Brian Cashman?
Look, I think one of two things is going to happen. I think the Yankees are either going to smarten up or they're going to be a bad team for a while. And I think that's the decisions they got to make. And you even read the Bob Klapisch article came out about, kind of how little Hal really does care. And he didn't really want this position. And it's kind of fallen into his lap. There's definitely serious concern. Now, everybody knows I've been a loud voice on Aaron Boone and just the way his leadership style is. And I don't think it's good either way. Do I? Now, if somebody came to me and said, hey, Pete, you got one guy to fire. It's Boone or Cashman. Who are you going with? I'm going with Cashman. 100 times in a row, I would go with Brian Cashman. If I could stick up for Aaron Boone on anything, it's that Aaron Boone does not put the players on the field. Aaron Boone does not say, who is in my lineup today? He does not say, I needed this guy. Why didn't we get him? We didn't get him, so I'm stuck with who we have. He doesn't do that stuff. So am I happy with the way that he commands the players on the field, the way the press conferences and all that stuff goes? No. Do I feel he's a weak leader? Yes. Do I feel he makes excuses? Yes. But Brian Cashman is the main culprit. I mean, he is the main culprit. There's no denying that. I mean, this is his team. This is his team for multiple years now, and it's been terrible.
B Horn says, how would you guys feel about hiring James Click as a Cashman replacement? So Click is with the Blue Jays? He's the VP of the Toronto Blue Jays. Look, the Blue Jays haven't won jack either,
No, I wouldn't be interested in him, to be honest.
I really don't know who. I mean, if you're going to replace Cashman, you got to have somebody with a little bit of experience, but you've also got to have somebody who's young enough to understand how teams are built these days.
Yeah.
I'm all on board with replacing Aaron Boone, but I don't want. I want the opposite in a manager that I want in my GM. I want a grizzled, frickin' I want like a Joe Torre type. Obviously not Torre because he's like 100 years old, but somebody who of that ilk. Who Showalter would have been perfect. I think the Mets are going to keep him around. I don't think it's his fault.
I think so too. Yeah.
But
what is Mike Scioscia doing nowadays? Mike Scioscia still out there somewhere?
Scioscia, Madden, one of those guys. Yeah. Scioscia. Last time I heard Scioscia, I thought he was like sick or something. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
He might be. Who knows? Who knows? But
he was working at the power plant in Springfield, and apparently he got that nuclear
Oh,
remember that the
the
Simpsons.
Actually.
The Simpsons.
Yeah, the Simpsons one. Yep. I don't know, you're right, because a lot of people, and I understand, even the chat saying Brian Sabian. I like Brian. I don't even know if Brian Sabian would want to do it. I think that's maybe the main question to it. And it's Brian Sabian. He's not far off from a great team built in San Francisco. He's one of the best scouts in Major League Baseball. Everybody knows that's his real lineage and his history. He also worked under George Steinbrenner and came up through him. And, he does have that winning persona that I think the whole organization kind of needs to get back to. But I don't know if he's the right guy. I got no clue on that. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Baseball is kind of going a little more youthful, especially with guys in the front office. And I think that might be a good idea. And you probably do want to try to pull somebody that has won already or has winning ways in that clubhouse and in the front office to go about it that way. The Yankees really do need to make a change. Brian Cashman is stale. It's done. It's over. Everybody's over it. It's time to move on. And I just hope that Hal Steinbrenner kind of puts two and two together here and goes, it's time to make a full complete change.
There were two names I saw brought up. So Ron Washington as a manager, I think he would be awesome. I love Ron Washington.
I would love him. I would love him as the Yankee manager. I think it'd be great.
And then Theo Epstein as a GM. We've talked about him before. I don't think he wants it.
I don't think so either.
I think he was holding out for the commissioner job, but Manfred just got like a 4-year extension. So maybe you never know if he wants to get back in the game. I don't know what is he doing these days.
Hey, I was gonna say what better job? Look, you won with the Red Sox. You won with the Cubs. Imagine saying, hey, we won a World Series with the Yankees, Red Sox, and Cubs. That's a hell of a. You got Hall of Fame credentials at that point. You're able to do that. So maybe it's something that would, kind of get him back into wanting a role like that.
It says Epstein is currently working as a consultant for MLB. How do you need to
What is saying?
What does that even mean? What does a consult somebody who just answers questions? How often do you need to be consulted with?
No,
that's got to be a boring existence.
Yeah, you want to work with us, no big deal. Yeah, you got an office right there. What am I? You're a consultant.
Yeah,
it's like something on Seinfeld that George would get.
Importer, exporter. I'm an importer, exporter.
Yeah, come on. Art Vandelay gave me the job.
Richard C says, "What's Billy Beane doing?" I think he's still in Oakland. He's still in Oakland's front office, but he had the opportunity to win when he was younger. I think he's in that Cashman age range where it's just he hasn't really won anything, and you can't really blame the fact that he doesn't have anybody around him. He doesn't have a team because he had an opportunity to have a team. He could have gone to Boston. He could have gone any number of. He probably could have come to the Yankees.
Yep. Pull somebody from the Rays, man. Pull somebody from the Rays front office. Go somebody with that. And, the Rays do a good – and you talked about a balance. Look at that balance. You got Kevin Cash and an analytical team up top, and then Kevin Cash is just like a stoic manager. He believes in the numbers, but he also says, hey, you're going to play ball under me, and if you're not, you're going to be benched. You're not going to play. That's simple. So that's what the Yankees need. They definitely need that.
Truth Always says Yankees should hire Posada as manager. He's another guy that I could definitely get behind as a manager, but I'm also kind of over first-time managers
that's no problem.
Yeah, if you want to bring him in as a bench coach for your next manager, that's the way you get Posada back in the organization.
Like Girardi. Girardi was the bench coach.
Yes!
He was the bench coach with Joe Torre. Then he went on to the Marlins. Then he came to the Yankees. So he had his build-up. the Yankees, you don't hand this type of franchise over to just anybody. I mean, that's the thing that bothers me. Give it to somebody who's kind of been there and done that. You consider yourself a win now organization and give it to somebody who's ready to win now.
Tommy Higgs says Alex Anthopoulos from the Braves, his contract is up soon. Now, there's no question the Yankees could afford to pay more money because Cashman's the highest paid GM in baseball. So the Yankees could, if they wanted to, afford to bring in Anthopoulos. Problem with that is that he's already like a Braves legend. Like, he's probably going to hold that position next 20 years. I mean, he's that kind of GM, and he's got a potential dynasty. Why would you leave a potential dynasty before you can collect the rings from it? You know what I mean?
I don't think he's going anywhere. He, like you said, you're right. He's so loved in Atlanta right now, and everybody sees him as one of the best in the game. So I don't see him going anywhere.
Joe Higashi says, "What's Willie Randolph doing?" I always thought he would have been a good Yankees manager. He was a great third base coach. I wouldn't mind bringing him back as a third base coach. This Rojas guy's a fucking joke.
They need coaching all around this club. So yeah, you got a lot of open spots in my opinion.
And then Albert Jr. says, "Wish we could get Cohn or O'Neill on the staff somehow. Their baseball insight is great during broadcasts." You know, I don't think O'Neill wants to do it. He talks like every other sentence out of his mouth is like my golf game and Nelly. And it's like, he's living the life. You know, he retired at 40 years old or whatever. And for the last, 15, 20 years, he's been living as essentially an empty nester or raising kids and soon to be an empty nester. Yep. And he doesn't want to leave that and go back on the road for 6 months a year.
Nah, not at all. You could tell it with Paulie. Paulie's living a good life, man. He's you could tell. I don't think Paul would want to get back in. I could see Cohn more than O'Neill if Cohn had a chance, because he did interview for the pitching coach before Blake got it. So I could definitely see Cohn getting back in there before anybody else.
Bobby Tessio says, "I'm torn with Mattingly. He's my favorite Yankee of all time, so criticizing him will be difficult." I kind of agree with that, but I also think that much in the way that Joe Torre was kind of like ready to win as a manager when he came to the Yankees in '96. He was he had been fired 3 times. He'd been fired by the Cardinals. The headline was Clueless Joe. But it felt like he was the right guy at the right time. Sort of, he had taken his lumps and he was ready and he was done with the bullshit and he just wanted to win. And that was all that was on his mind. Aaron Boone doesn't know how hard it is to get there. Like he was handed the Ferrari. And he came from a family of baseball players. He was probably rich his whole life. He just never struck me as somebody who had to struggle and take his lumps.
I agree.
Mattingly came from a poor neighborhood. He was a poor kid. He made it in New York as a rookie, which is not easy to do. Could probably help other people. And this was during the '80s when everybody was doing blow.
Yep.
Everybody was doing blow. And I think. And there was a report that Mattingly was a candidate for the bench coach position this winter. Yeah, I think if Boone gets replaced, Donnie's the guy. I think Donnie's the guy.
I can see that all day. I mean, it's comfortable, isn't it? I mean, it's a comfortable pick. And I think everybody would be okay with it. He's a leader. You could sit there and go all day. Well, he never won it. He didn't win. But look, at the end of the day, he's been through the grind. He knows what the grind is of New York, and you don't think he wants to win more than anybody in that room? Still to this day,
that's what we want.
That's what you want. You want somebody that's drooling at the mouth, saying, I need that ring. I need to win. And I wouldn't be upset with that move at all. I just hope that, again, if that were to happen, it's coming under a different GM, because I don't know how much Cashman even likes him. Like, there's apparently a lot of riffraff with a lot of those older guys and Brian Cashman, even like the Dynasty year guys and some before that. There's like a little rift between Cashman and all these guys. Yeah. So who the hell knows?
I think we should leave it there. I love the idea of Mattingly, and good win tonight. Pete, anything else coming up for you that you want to mention?
No, not really. Just guys, you already know Game Season Live all the time. We do have a couple of big announcements coming up over the next couple of weeks. So everybody stay tuned for that. And then of course, if you guys, anybody in the North Arlington area of New Jersey, I will be at Lito's Tavern on the 19th. NYYST is doing a live podcast over there, so I'll be there for a 1:00 game, Yankees Red Sox, drink specials. And then, of course, September 23rd, you guys know the deal, Yankee Stadium. Derek's going to be there. I'm going to be there, the whole team. It's going to be amazing. Can't wait for it.
And you know what's going to be? I mean, it's not going to be great, but because the Yankees are going to be out of it by then, it's going to be a great.
Yeah.
What's going to be great about it is that I'm not going to have to recap it. We're just going to get fucking sloshed. We're going to drink our asses off. We're going to eat steak and we're going to have a good time, smoke some cigars in a parking lot or something, and just enjoy it's been a tough year for the Yankees, and it will be almost cathartic, to say goodbye to this team and hopefully this manager and this GM. Ladies and gentlemen,
no doubt.
Mr. Pete Simonetti. We'll see you next time.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.